You are a handsome devil. I don't know if I'll get anything accomplished at this remote meeting. But you know, there's a lot to be said about virtual events these days. Why don't you go learn how you can extend the reach of your meeting? I'm gonna stay right here and enjoy my meeting.
We're fortunate to have with us today Michael Doyle, Executive Director, Virtual Edge Institute. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
And Pam Bellinger, Vice President, Association Headquarters. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you.
We got a really tough subject. Complement your face-to-face meetings with virtual events, which I suppose for some planners, and I'll talk to you first, Michael, would not be news. But for other planners, maybe this is something they're trying to wrestle with. So where's the state of the industry in this?
Well, I think it's probably pretty reflective of a session that I did this morning at Convening Leaders here, where we did a poll, and about 60% of the planners were already doing something in this space, so some type of online engagement around their meeting, but about 40% hadn't started yet. And I think that's probably pretty indicative of what the reality is out there in the marketplace.
And what do you think's holding up the 4 out of 10, Pam, who haven't made the leap yet?
Well, I think that for many planners, it's not that they're holding back, but I think that they're having a hard time convincing some of the association leaders that there's fear that adding virtual or adding a streaming would decrease registration or decrease attendance, whereas I think what we're finding is that it's actually increasing, and it increases, you can use it as a marketing tool for people that have never been to your meeting. They can get a taste of what it is, and then they want to come back the next year for the whole package.
Is the assumption with an online or a virtual meeting that it's real time, or is this repurposed broadcast or broadcast later? I've never been clear on that.
Well, most of my associations that are doing this are using it in real time, but then what they will do is archive it. So if the person is signing up and getting it live, they have the option of going in later and getting it as part of the content capture. So it serves, you can do it both ways.
Yeah, and there are, the live is one thing, then the engaging them with the archived content is another whole strategy, because you can if you just take the content and put it on your site, people won't find it, they won't consume it, they won't engage around it. So it is really a matter of continuously marketing and pushing that content out to people and getting them to engage around it.
But the live is so important because it gives them the opportunity to ask questions. When it's going on live and you have a good moderator that has got a tablet and they're looking at the questions that are coming in from the people that are listening on live, those people have an opportunity to be a part of it. Whereas if they watch it afterwards, it's basically, to get the education, but not really be a part of it.
It would sound like, looking at it from my perspective, a lot of extra work on the planner's part. Is it labor intensive?
Well, it can be. It depends. There's kind of a scale of production that you can really look at, but it can be something where there are plenty of firms out there that can do a full service engagement for you, so they take care of everything, and you don't, as a planner, you don't have to worry too much except about what is the strategy and what are you trying to achieve with this program. Then you can have either agencies or other providers out there who will engage on it. But there's a lot of planners here that are doing the whole thing in-house, and and it's really a question of what is the goal and objective of that program, and that's going to help dictate how complex and how many parts and how sophisticated that production is going to be.
I think there's definitely added time for the planner. Even if you engage somebody that is going to do the whole thing, every planner, as you know, we like to have our hands in everything. We want to touch everything. We want to know exactly what's going on. I also think that for some of the associations, as they're going into this, there's a comfort level with the association or the program committee that they want their planner to be that go-between for the moderators and the speakers, because those are the people, we're the people that have been in touch with all of them and built the relationship over the years. So there's a comfort level there. So the planner really does have to, I think, be actively involved and stay on top of it, no matter whether you've got a company that's taking you from soup to nuts.
And who looks out for the speaker or the presenter? I mean, do you need somebody to moderate kind of, or represent the interests of the virtual audience?
I think selecting the moderator is very important. I think you have to let your program committee work with them to select a moderator that buys into this, so that they will be actively involved in bringing in the remote attendee, so that when those questions are coming in, they don't forget that person isn't standing at the microphone asking the question. So I think that the preparation, it starts with the planner working with the program committee to make the selection, to decide what sessions are going to be done, and then starting with the education with the moderator, and then an education to the speaker to let them know that there's a world out there beyond the room that's listening to them.
So forgive the comparison, but this isn't a church service for shut-ins. I mean, we're not simulcasting. There's more thought required on the planner's part to recognize there's a whole other audience out there and be watching out for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that gets back down to the planning process. You need a plan for the engagement of that attendee, of those attendees. So you have to know what it is that you want them to see, to hear, to feel, to do, and then have the resources in place, whether it's a moderator who's on site in the live room, or somebody who's off camera somewhere, or off stage somewhere, who's following the Twitter chats or the chats within the system, and really engaging that remote audience.
If I'm a virtual attendee, for whatever reason, I'm a physician, I'm on call, should I pay this? I don't pay the same amount as somebody who's going, at least, I wouldn't have hotel costs, but am I paying the same fee generally? Do people price it the same?
I don't know how other people are pricing, and I know how we price it is we look at, because we're not offering the whole sessions. We're not offering everything. So and remember, they're not coming and eating the food and beverage, and your cost for giving them this session is a lot less than for the attendee on site. What we're looking at what we've looked at is pricing per session, and then giving a package deal for everything. And because we're not giving everything, we're looking at probably about 50% off of where the actual attendee is paying for it.
Great. Last question. So the 40% out there who's watching, what tip would you give to the 40% who haven't made the leap yet? Or what suggestion or idea?
Well, I would say that to get started, because you are going to go this way, and it's better now to get started and build up your experience now. We're working with the convention centers right now with a program. It's called the Digital Event Center program, where we're going in and we're certifying the different centers out there and creating what we call a hybrid in a box solution for them, which is a starter program for associations that haven't done this before. And it's got set pricing, it's got set programming, and so everything's included. There's no other hidden costs or things that are going to surprise them. But we also back that up with a plan, for them to be successful with that, and that comes from the Virtual Edge Institute. We consult with them to help them be successful in those kind of entry-level, first-time programs. That's one of the things that we're doing there. But I would say,
Get started. Huh?
Get started.
At the risk of shameless promotion, then you should contact Virtual Edge Institute, because you have a starter kit.
Exactly.
Pam, any tips or ideas or thoughts?
I think the best thing to do is to reach out to people that have used it. That's what I did. I went to some of my other planners or some of the other people that I work with and said, now you've done it. How did you do it? How did it work? Because I think there's a wealth of knowledge out there. Also, collect the data. If you're having to sell it to your association leaders, your program committee, or anyone like that, I think collect the data and show the statistics, which is what I did, to show that in these meetings, the number of people, the percentage, the evaluations. So I think collecting your data and putting it before your association. Reach out to other planners that have done it. Reach out to the companies. I mean, most of the AV companies or the specialty companies such as Michael's, they can give you a wealth of knowledge and help. And the best advice I can do is really just don't get scared, just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Great. Well, I'm glad this was not virtual. I'm glad it was face-to-face.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Michael.
All right, thank you.
Pam, thank you. We've been fortunate to have Michael Doyle, Executive Director, Virtual Edge Institute, and Pam Bellinger, Vice President, Association Headquarters. talking about complement your face-to-face meetings with virtual events.